lift it out right now, folks. Plastic off of it. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I'm still recording the unboxing video, by the way, but guys, I would like you to meet an old friend of mine. Yeah, very funny, Matthew. But here it is, folks. Or not. This is the Packard Bell Legend 822 CDT in the flesh. Hello, this is Billy Core from the Nostalgia Mall, and welcome to a very special episode of the Nostalgia Mall because we are celebrating another special anniversary. It was 5 years ago this month when I was finally reunited with my childhood computer, the Packard Bell Legend 822 CDT. A computer that I searched for so many years, and I thought I would never find it, but I finally did. Now, again, I want to remind you that this is not the original that I had as a child, but this is the same model. I have unfortunately checked with who my parents gave the original 822 to back in 2000, and it is indeed gone for good. So, this is the best we're gonna get. Wow, I sure started this video on a sour note. But anyway, I want to just, before we fire the computer up, I want to go into detail about how long it took me to find this and what I had to do to get it and all the stuff I went through. First of all, I got this computer on April the I want to say the 28th of 2013. So the reason why I'm not putting this video out on April 28th is because, well, there's a special reason. This is my 822nd video. Now, I have a few unlisted videos online, so the count you're seeing might be off by a few, but this is technically the 822nd video, so I figured this is perfect. Perfect timing. So let's go ahead and do this now. But anyway, it all goes back to about 2005, the early part of 2005, when I was first really starting to get into 90s nostalgia, when I was 15 years old. And one of the first things I wanted to do when I was getting into that was I wanted to get a Windows 95 computer to play old computer games on, like Fatty Bear's Birthday Surprise and other games. Now, the Humongous Entertainment games I was able to get playing on Windows XP, but it just didn't feel the same. It didn't have the same feel to it, even though it worked just fine. And there were some other games that wouldn't work on Windows XP at all, like Earthworm Jim. That requires Windows 9X and nothing else. So I was pretty much out of luck there. But I really, really wanted to get a computer to play these old games on. And at the time, I wasn't really interested in a particular brand. A Packard Bell would have been nice, but at the time, I just wanted a computer that ran Windows 95. I didn't really care about the OEM. I remember looking at a few that come to mind right now. The biggest one I remember was a compact Presario 2200. I found that on eBay in February of '05, and I was close to buying it, but I didn't quite have the money at the time. And I'm glad I didn't buy it because I've heard that was not one of Compact's proudest computers. Just you can do some research on that yourself and find out why. But I wound up not getting that. Even looked at a few Gateway 2000s, but eventually, in March of 2005, I finally did come across the perfect computer. It was a Packard Bell Legend 1510 Supreme being sold down in Thomasville, North Carolina, which is just about 45 minutes from here. And it came with the computer, of course, the monitor, and all the Packard Bell software, keyboard, mouse, all the goodies. Had the exact same software that my childhood 822 came with. I felt like this was a sign. This was meant to be. I gotta get this. And I did. I paid for it. It was $50 plus $20 shipping, so in total $70. And I got it, and everything was intact except for the monitor and the master CD. The monitor was unfortunately destroyed by UPS. You would turn it on and you would just get a completely scrambled picture. So that was completely ruined, even though it only had like a 40-mile journey to get here. And the Packard Bell Master Restore CD had a crack in it, so that was unfortunate. But everything else was intact, and that was my one and only vintage computer for several years, and I loved it. It ran beautifully. It was just like my childhood Packard Bell Legend 822 CDT, except for the case form factor. As you know, it was a flat desktop model instead of a tower like this. But even during all that, there was a part of me that was still wanting the original model that I had as a kid. So I remember in December of 2006, it was right after Christmas that year, we were putting our decorations away for the year. And at the time, we were using the box that the original Packard Bell Legend 822 CDT came in to put Christmas decorations in. And so my mom tore off a piece of it that was the spec sticker that had all the information, the specs on it, of course. And I still have it, but unfortunately it is not within arm's reach at the moment. But that gave me the model number, which I had forgotten about after all those years, and it said Legend 822 CDT. And it's funny, what I did was I took that piece of cardboard around Greensboro to various computer stores asking them, do you have this computer? And obviously no one did. It was the end of 2006. That computer wasn't really retro at the time, and it was completely junk at that point in time, except to me, of course. But you know, I casually just swept it away and just kept casually looking for a Legend 822 CDT throughout the years. And then came excuse me, and then came the year 2010 when a thrift store called Value Village opened up here in Greensboro, which sold old vintage computers at dirt cheap prices. And I would go there several times a week, and I would come home with so many computers. And one of them, in November of 2010, was a Packard Bell Legend 3550 in a mini tower case that looked just like this, and it had the exact same hardware and specifications as this computer right here. And I loved it because this was the closest I ever got to getting my original 822 back. This was it. If I never got my 822 back, this would be just fine. And then 2 months later, it died. Motherboard fried. I don't know what exactly happened to it. I'm guessing maybe static electricity, but January 2011, it just quit working. And throughout the next few years, I used various Packard bells that I would find at Value Village and ones I would buy and trade from friends of mine online. And it was a lot of fun. And of course, I still had the Legend 1510 Supreme going as well. And I was still looking for that Legend 822 CDT. I knew it was out there, but I just could not find it. No one had it. There was no record of its existence hardly, except for my my memories, my photographs of my original and video of the original. But then 2013 arrived, and I had been running a group on Facebook for enthusiasts of Packard Bell computers and vintage computers in general. And a friend of mine from that group, who was a member of a vintage computer forum somewhere online, found someone who was selling a Packard Bell Legend 822 CDT in beautiful condition. And it was the exact same motherboard that mine had. It was pretty much the exact same thing that I had as a kid. And so, being the kind person he was, it was through the help of him and some other friends of mine who donated their money to get that computer purchased and shipped here to my house. And on, I believe, April 28th of 2013, and I probably have that date wrong, I was finally reunited with my childhood Packard Bell Legend 822 CDT after 8 years of searching. And 5 years later, I still can't believe I finally found one. I did have one other since then. It was a Hillary board model that was, it was pretty much the same computer as this, but the motherboard was different and it just didn't feel right. So I wound up selling it to YouTube user Elmo3, who has given it a very happy and healthy home for the last couple of years, and I'm grateful for that. So yeah, and that's where we are today. So let's see what I've done with it and how the computer stands at this moment. Okay, first let's go over a few changes I've made over the past 5 years to this setup. One big major change I made just a couple of months after I got it in the summer of 2013 was I replaced the spinning hard drive that was in here. Actually, it didn't come with one at all when I got it. I had to put my own in it. But I took it out and I replaced it with a compact flash card. And then later on down the line, I replaced the internal compact flash card adapter with one that's mounted in the rear of the machine in one of the expansion slots, so I can switch between a drive for Windows 95 and a drive for Windows 3.1, although admittedly I'm using the Windows 95 card about 90% of the time. One other thing, I found this on eBay also in 2013. This is the mouse pad that came with our original 822 back in December of 1995. It was a Best Buy mouse pad because we bought it at Best Buy, and I was lucky to find this on eBay for a few bucks. One major thing that I'm proud of is I was able to get the original desk that the original 822 sat on. And I purchased this desk at Value Village back in August of 2016 for just $16. And this is it right here. It's not in the best shape. It's missing a screw right here, so I had to use some Gorilla Tape right here. It's very redneck, but it gets the job done. And this part right here, I didn't buy. This is actually original. This was the original stand that the original 822 sat on. My dad still kept this, and I swapped another stand to get this one back. And by the way, I apologize for the mess over here. Had a lot of projects going on lately, so yeah, pretty much been able to completely recreate the way this looks. Well, the way it looked back in the 90s, and I am very proud of that. And I think this is the best we're going to get. Of course, we got the monitor, keyboard, Microsoft mouse, which is similar to the one I got for Easter back in 1996. I got a empty 90s era Pepsi can because when I was about 6 years old, every night I would play Fatty Bear's Birthday Surprise on this computer while drinking a can of Pepsi that would look like that. And we got a Microsoft Sidewinder 3D Pro, which was used on our original 822. And not original to either of the 822s is the Packard Bell Fast Media Remote. The Legend 822 CDT did not ship with these. So yeah, get another closer look here. There's the spec sticker. Now, the day I got this computer back in 2013, this little chip right here was not there. And I'll tell you how this chip appeared. It appeared the same day I got this computer. I was setting it up on a smaller desk that I had by this wall at the time. I was hooking things up to it, and I had it a little too close to the edge, and it came crashing down. I screamed like a 2-year-old girl who just wet her pants. But thankfully, the computer survived. The reason there's chips here is because it landed on a broken Hewlett-Packard power supply out of an old late 90s HP. The Packard Bell landed on it. All that happened to the Packard Bell was these couple of little plastic chips here, but the power supply was completely destroyed. It was mutilated. It was an X-power supply. It no longer existed, as you can see in the picture if I remember to edit it in. It was hilarious when that happened, and I will never forget that. So anyway, let's go ahead and power up, shall we? Okay, here we go. This particular model was manufactured in late September of 1995. I forget the exact date. Monitor I'm using takes a while for it to warm up. I hope it's not dying because this is a very, very nice looking monitor. Of course, we're booting into Windows 95. This is a 2 gigabyte CF card. Five years later, still works fine. Even made a custom wallpaper for it. I have similar ones on my other Packard Bells in my collection. So we'll adjust things right here. And of course, you know, we've seen all this stuff before over so many years. There's really not anything new to see here. I think the last time I did a proper video on this computer was this past December for Nostalgic Christmas, and nothing's really changed on this computer since then. So I don't want to be repeating myself too much. This video is mainly just reminiscing on how long it took to get one of these in my possession. And of course, I use this computer every year for the New Year's Eve countdown videos. And there's the clock application I use. my documents here because why not? Thought I had a certain file there, but I guess I don't. Oh well. We can do a little MIDI test. Find something that won't get me copyright striked. Let's see what this Brandenburg is. Actually kind of like that. I forget where I found that, but you know what? We've done this before, but it's been a while, and since it's kind of a special occasion, let's take a lesson on using the mouse.
Welcome from Packard Bell. We offer you 2 computing environments to choose from.
Oh, wait. Ooh. Well, this is kind of awkward. I swear, this is a reliable computer. This very rarely happens. This very rarely happens. Maybe we can, okay, we can, we survived that, but we do need the, Navigator CD to do the lesson on using the mouse. Here it is right here. Let's just pretend that blue screen of death never happened. You know, we could take a lesson on using the mouse using the fast meter remote, but...
Hi, and welcome to a brief lesson on using your mouse. Now, before we begin, remember you can always use your keys on your keyboard to move around. To return to where you were originally, just press the Escape key. And to move ahead, press the Enter key. If you need help at any time, just press the question mark key. Now we'll introduce you to your mouse and answer some basic questions. Why should I use a mouse? How do I use it? And how do I use the mouse when I'm working with text?
That mouse sounds like a jerk to me.
To begin with, your mouse is a tool to let your computer know what you want it to do. You use the mouse to point, click, and drag. Go ahead, try moving the mouse. Rest your palm on the round part of the mouse and move it around on the pad. Now you can see how the arrow on the screen mirrors the mouse movement. Now
Yes,
move the mouse so the pointer goes off the screen.
Do I have to do everything? It's off the screen, guy. It's off the screen. Do you want a certificate?
To get the pointer back, just move the mouse a bit until it appears on your screen again. Now let's practice pointing. Try to move the mouse so the arrow moves over the blue gear. You click on an object by pressing and quickly releasing the left mouse button while the pointer is over that object. Practice by clicking on the red gear. When you click on an object, it highlights to show you that it's selected and it's ready for the next action you choose. Click on the red gear again to de-highlight or deselect it. Now use the mouse button to click on the forward button on the screen.
You know, you could do some of this yourself, guy.
Try it on the green gear.
Okay.
It may take a little practice to get it just right.
Oh, so we're being condescending, huh?
The next thing you need to know is dragging with the mouse.
Does this mean I gotta wear
Drag an
women's
object
clothing?
by pointing to it and holding down the left mouse button while you move the mouse.
There was that costume I wore when I was 11 years old for Halloween, but I was
Practice dragging the
11.
gears into place on the
It was a
blueprint
time of
using the mouse.
exploration. Anyway. I have to admit, it has been a while since I've taken this lesson.
When you're working with text, you can use your mouse to tell the software where you want to work. Move the pointer so it's over the word better in the text on the screen. Notice how the pointer looks like the letter I. This shows you where you'll begin working. You can use your mouse to select a word to remove it. Just move the cursor over the word road and double-click the left mouse button.
Removing the road. You know, that's kind of what I did with my rebranding back in January.
Notice the word is highlighted. Now press the delete or backspace key to remove the word road. You can also highlight a whole line or paragraph. Start at the beginning of what you want to highlight. Hold the left mouse button down while moving the mouse over the first line. Then use your mouse to move the cursor down one line at a time to cover the area you want to highlight. Try it on the sentence on screen. Normally, just like with words, if you press the Enter or Delete keys, you erase whatever is highlighted. Let's keep going through. Let's try changing the letters in a word using the mouse and keyboard. Position the cursor before the O in piston and click the left mouse button. Then press and release the backspace key 3 times to delete the letters T, S, and I. Now type E, R, and S to spell person.
That alarm means that my YouTube channel has been suspended. It was nice knowing you guys. So long.
Thanks for learning how to use the mouse to
You're
point,
welcome.
click, double-click and drag, and to edit text. These skills will come in handy whenever you use your computer. Now, to go over any part of this tutorial and practice using your mouse, just click on a topic. Or you can click on the gallery wall button in the upper right area of the control panel to return to the gallery wall.
I think what we're going to do is get the heck out of here. And get our CD out. And perhaps go ahead and call this a video. I am, after 5 years, I am still extremely, extremely grateful and lucky to have my childhood computer back. It may not be the actual one I had as a kid, but to have one that's so close to it that it's, a lot of times I just tell people this is it, it's because it's so close to the original. So, here's to another 5 years. We'll see how this computer's doing in the year 2022. If I had to guess, I'm sure it'll be working just as well as it is today. So we'll go ahead and shut her on down. So thank you for watching. We have new videos every Tuesday and Thursday, sometimes in between. Support me on Patreon if you'd like to. The link for that is down in the description below. So until next time, this is Billy Core signing off. And wondering why it's frozen at this screen. Oh well.